Hi, I'm Cash, and let's talk about some football. Right now, we're going to focus on Arsenal and what's going to happen to them next season. Everyone thinks they're going to do fantastic because obviously they've just got Declan Rice, and I'm going to put a different sort of spin on it. I'm going to make a bit of a prediction that Arsenal are going to fall flat on their face next season. They'll still get the top four. They still might be challenging in the beginning part of the season for the Premier League, all the way up until sort of about Christmas. But this is what I think is going to happen, and let me base it on some facts that has happened the season before. And in the season before, Arsenal had a great season. No one can take that away from them. But the season was kind of weird because of the World Cup. So in the first part of the season, people were winning, losing, and no one really kind of cared because everyone was really focused on the World Cup. That is the players as well, the players themselves. And what it really did for them was give the players a sort of stopgap, a pause in the pressure of the Premier League. And that's massive for young players. So halfway through the season, even if they're playing, it doesn't matter if they're going to the World Cup, it doesn't matter what they're doing, they're not playing club football. And they're not getting the pressure of the media and all the other things that come along with that. The pressure is there, but it's in a completely different way. It's more of a refreshing way. So when Arsenal come back, off they go. And then they had 3 draws in a row, which games they should have won easily, but they didn't. And that comes down to, again, the pressure. And that because what really happened is after they came back from the World Cup, they started winning, and now all of a sudden they were title contenders. And the minute they were, heralded as title contenders, the pressure starts to come. And also, that season, no one really cared about Arsenal last year. So if you're playing against them in the first part of the season, it was just Arsenal. Oh, and you've lost. It's very different when you've been the best team, or the second best team in this case. When people come to play you, now they've got a different perspective and point of view. They're worried about you. They're preparing for you. You've got a target on your back. They're coming to hit that target. They didn't have that target on their back last year. They could just play their football, do their thing, and go about what's going on. So that's one of these added pressures that they're going to have, is everyone wants to bite out of Arsenal because they're supposed to be the good team. It used to happen to Man United all the time. Oh, look, it's Man United. Oh, look, they lost to Southampton. Woo, Southampton, we're the best team in the world. It used to happen all the time. So people go after the big teams because they've got something to prove. Now Arsenal's class is a big team. People are going to come after them much harder than they did last year. Now, granted, in the second part of the year they did, but not in the first part. Not in that first part of the year and the build-up to the World Cup. I still think Arsenal will do well in the first part of the season coming along. But then I think what's going to happen is they're playing Champions League. And that's a massive difference maker again for the pressure. Because these players haven't played Champions League. A lot of them before never done it at all. So it depends on who they get in their group. If they get any team of prestige, European prestige, they're going to be under the pressure for them. And then if they lose those games against whoever the supposed better team is in their league. So in their because obviously you have 4 people in the Champions League in their group. They'll be number 2, someone else will be number 1, and then you'll get 2 sort of teams like Porto or whatever. If they struggle to beat those teams in that Champions League, they're going to get extra added pressure. And then what's going to happen is that they get knocked out the group phase. There's going to be even more pressure put on them. Let's say they don't. Let's say they get out the group phase. Now there's a difference in pressure because when they come out of group phase and now they've got to play, and this is the area that I think is going to be the problem when that winter sort of break doesn't happen and it's all the FA Cup and Champions League gets replayed and all this stuff is going to start to build up. That's when I think they're going to come under pressure. That's when I think they're really going to have their drop off. I think they'll be there or thereabouts in the first part of the season. And as the Champions League group stage wraps up, that's when I think they're going to start to drop off. That's when I think the pressure's going to come in. Even if they've got the Declan Rice and maybe even another signing, they don't have enough depth. And I'm not talking about depth in good players here. I'm talking about depth in experience. Players that have, I've been here before, buddy. Don't worry. Declan Rice has not been there before. He hasn't been in the Champions League. He doesn't know how to cope with that pressure. And that's going to be the biggest difference, is we've got no 2 or 3 players or 4 players, senior players that have been there, seen it and done it to help guide those youngsters through. And that's where I think Arsenal's going to fall flat on their face this season. And it's going to come to that second part of the season. You're going to see a drop-off. I still think they'll finish, top 4. They're not going to finish second. I think they'll be 3rd or 4th in that sort of spot there. And that's why I think why you're going to see times when, or was it Saka missed a penalty or so? I think he missed an easy goal, and you saw him struggling when he knew he should have done it because all the pressure's on him. They have Jesus. Was it Jesus? Who's that guy they bought from Man City? Can't remember his name. And he's decent. He's been there. He's seen it. He's done it, but it's not enough. And he's not really a leader. He can lead on the field by scoring goals, but he's not someone that's going to, rally the team around and go forward. Normally, it's a midfielder or a defender, an old head in his, late 20s, early 30s that's seen it and done it. And then they don't have that, and they need it. They're going to need to draw on that sort of extra experience. Now, here's the interesting thing. The season after, when Arsenal do have that experience, then you're going to have to watch them. The season after, when they've gone through this pressure period, this pressure season, that's when Arsenal are going to push to win the league. Next, not this season coming, but the season after, that's when Arsenal are going to have some experience of doing this again, experience in the Champions League. They're not going to be bothered about making it because they've made it again. That's when you're going to have to watch out for them. Well, let me know what you think of my take in the comments, guys. Take care.